Hi everybody, it's Allison from the Everyday Scrapbooker, dropping in again today to share a layout with you that I created using Cricut die cuts, some stuff that I had littering my desk that I wanted to use up. They are watercolored elements, and some coloring as well using the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. I have a woodland theme going on this layout, as you can tell by the wood grain die cut, if that was a clue, that I'm just gluing to the layout base. It's cut from espresso cardstock and it's going to be matted on Close to My Heart white daisy cardstock. So because I'm going with a woodland theme, I thought of using the Woodland Greetings stamp set from Close to My Heart. You're going to see that pop into this video in a little bit as well. And I have some wild animal die cuts that I cut from my Cricut as well. Right now, I'm just arranging the picture that I'm going to be adding to the layout. I'm going to mat it on some pattern paper, a little bit of stencil sheet paper in replacement of vellum, and then that's going to be layered onto some scrap black cardstock as well. This layout is going to be scrap heavy, so it's a stash busting layout as well, and I couldn't be more happy with the finished result. Right now I'm just cutting apart a scrap piece of cardstock that I had lying around. I added a little bit too much glue to the back of the pattern papers that are matted behind my picture, and I didn't want it sticking to the layout because I planned on using foam squares to pop up the picture a little bit, of course, so I can slide some sewing thread and other embellishments underneath the photo as well. So that's what I'm doing there. I've just added the foam squares to my layout and decided before I added the photo to the layout, I was going to use this strip of scrap watercolored paper that I had left over. I'd cut it with some older Close to My Heart thin cuts and thought that this would work perfect on this layout, and added it before I adhered my picture. So what I'm doing next, I've cut everything before starting this video, and actually I have the plan mapped out in my head too before I actually went ahead and created the video, because I'm trying to cut down on time, video time, so that you're not sitting in front of your phone or your computer or iPad or whatever it is that you're using to watch this. I don't want to use up too much of your time, so I'm finding ways to shave time off my videos, hoping that will achieve that goal. So I cut the title from my Cricut as well before I got started. And actually most of the elements that I have in this layout were either cut previously, were cut before I started the video, or came from deep within my stash, like the bear that I am just adhering to the die cut circle right now. So the die cut circle, I had it lying around. It was meant for another project and I ended up not using it. So I took it and decided to stamp a mountain scene on it from another older Close to My Heart stamp set. I stamped it in Versamark ink because I'd planned on heat embossing it, and I added clear powder because my plan was to watercolor it with a Close to My Heart water brush after I'd stamped the scene. I did this all off camera, of course, too. So I got all the stamping done, I heat embossed it, and once it was dry, I used pewter re-inker, glacier re-inker, and canary to kind of fill in the scene, just to help give some interest to the thin cut circle. It looked kind of boring with the bear just placed on top of it and nothing else. I wanted to fill in that white space just a little bit more. This was the second attempt The first time I tried it, I just tried watercoloring using straight reinker and water and stamping with water resistant ink, and it didn't work. Everything bled. So take number 2, I decided to heat emboss, and it worked beautifully. So the rest of the title actually was cut from scrap watercolor paper that I had used on another project a while ago. I still had enough left over that I could cut "Do Not Feed," probably "the" as well, I think. So I cut that using my Cricut and added it to the title. I cut the rest of the title, the word wildlife, just from plain black cardstock, and cut those adorable raccoons from my Cricut as well. They're super cute, aren't they? I just love them. To add a little more interest, I have tons and tons and tons of these little trees that I'm just gluing to the layout right now, left over. So I decided to add them to my layout as well. Actually, a little secret, I try and incorporate them into all of my projects because I have so many of them left over. So this is one of those projects. And then I decided to layer the raccoons over top of them. I will add some foam squares to the backs of the raccoons as well, just to create some depth so the trees are further back, like in the background, and the raccoons are in the foreground. My plan for this layout was to create another watercolor layout like I have been doing recently in my crafting. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I've been really hot for watercoloring and mixed media lately, but I didn't want to break out all the stops to create a watercolor layout this time. Truth be told, before this design kind of formed in my brain, I was headed in a totally different direction. Was gonna go with my lately traditional mixed media, adding all the inks and different colors to the backgrounds and piling paper on top of it. And the more I looked at it, it just wasn't jiving. And then I realized I have a wood grain image on my Cricut. Why not switch gears and use that? And after that idea popped into the old attic, it just flowed. The ideas come rushing, and it was really super simple and easy to put together. Sometimes we need to just take a little breather from our crafting, take a little mini mental vacation sort of thing, give ourselves a breather, and then come back to it. And after another idea or inspiration hits us, crafting is so much easier and goes so much more quickly as well. As the ideas were rolling in, I decided that I was going to print my journaling on my computer and then cut it into strips as well. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to be adhering it below the title. And I'm also going to add some of those adorable woodland creatures from the Woodland Greetings stamp set. It's an older stamp set from Close to My Heart, or maybe it's newer. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. I just got it recently. But it's a super adorable stamp set. I love using it, especially for the animals in it. They're just too cute not to use. To color in those woodland creatures, I stamped them first in Close to My Heart intense black ink, and then I colored them in with the earth brown and the tan Spectrum Noir markers. I used the tan on the cute little deer and the earth brown blend on the bear. Little known fact. So this layout is about a wolverine. I guess it's AAA local hockey team here in town is called the Wolverines. We were at an event here in town. It's a summer music festival event that happens every summer, spring, I guess. And the Wolverines mascot was there, and one of my daughters ended up giving him a high five. And I did not have a Wolverine image. I don't have an image on my Cricut. I don't have a stamp Wolverine image. I could have Googled it, but I really didn't want to do that and then cut it out and slap it onto my layout. Instead, I used a bear image because I learned that wolverines are very similar to bears in appearance, but they're a lot smaller. Just as ferocious, but a lot smaller, and the same in appearance as a bear. So I just decided to use a bear to embellish this layout, even though it's about essentially the White Court Wolverines and giving whatever the mascot is, his name, a high five. I don't even know his name. He's just a Wolverine. So anyways, that's the little backstory behind this layout and kind of why I used bears instead of Wolverines. So now you know. Look how cute. Don't the little bear and the deer look absolutely adorable? It might just be me, but I absolutely love them. And then with the raccoons, I just think this page couldn't be any better. But it could, because I'm going to be adding some sewing thread. I'm just going to be placing it around the layout in a few different places. Right now I'm adding some just simple gray sewing thread behind the bear. And I'm going to be adding some green to the top left corner of the photo. There's going to be a few other elements that I'll add to that spot as well. In just a minute, I'm just adding a little bit more gray thread here to another spot on the layout before I move on to the top left-hand corner. In that top left-hand corner, I'm going to add just another little circle that I cut with my Cricut from some gray pattern paper to help kind of tie into the whole color scheme of the layout. And I'm gonna, like I said, add some green thread to that as well. I'm also going to add the date. I'll be stamping it with my date stamp onto a piece of just scrap white cardstock. I'll trim it down into a pennant and then add that over top of the green sewing thread beside the photo. Here it is right now, I'm doing it. Having trouble with my tape runner, getting it on such a small little element, but I end up getting it and throw it up there in the top left corner. Super duper cute, right? I love it. It's a lot of fun. I'm so happy with this layout. Achieving a mixed media layout like this one is really super simple. It doesn't always have to be bright, bold colors that are splattered into or onto your layout base with bright, bold colors. It can be subtle and minimalist as well, sort of like what I had done here. And if you have leftover papers that you were fooling around with and watercoloring and that sort of thing, cut them up, make them a title or make them elements to splash around your layout and watch it transform in front of your eyes. It's really simple to do and doesn't have to be complicated. I'm not quite done embellishing this layout yet. I happen to find some white acrylic shapes that I was lucky enough to bring home from Close to My Heart convention this past summer. I happened to just find them. They weren't where they were supposed to be. I always give my kids heck for that. I guess I should follow my own advice and put my stuff away. Anyways, I happened to find it and brought it downstairs to my haven so that I could play with them. And I'm just going to sprinkle some of those acrylic hearts, which are super adorable as well, around the layout just to help tie everything together, embellish just a little bit more, and complete this project. I love it. You can color the hearts in. I just decided to keep them white and let the layout speak for itself. I didn't want to add any more than that. Well, my friends, with that, this layout is 100% complete. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that you found my layout inspirational. And if you really enjoyed it and want to see more, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the little bell and select all so that you don't miss anything that I post here. If you enjoyed this video and you don't want to subscribe, that's totally fine too. Just give me a like, give me a thumbs up, let me know that you dropped in and you found something inspirational or interesting about this video. I'd really love to hear from you, and I'm so happy that you dropped in to visit with me. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I have some close-ups at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for that. Otherwise, I will see you again very, very soon. Thank you. Bye, guys.